Two opposites attract. And this is something that comes up in my consultations all the time because people who are in a relationship are questioning this. People who are wanting to get married are questioning this. People who are single are wondering whether I need to be with someone of the same culture, same habits, same profession, or do I need to go for someone who's completely different from me? Because what is going to make relationships work? Now, we hear this from our parents, our grandparents, that look at us, we had an arranged marriage, we had nothing in common between us, and still we had three children, five grandchildren. Those stories, we've heard them a lot. But the whole idea of do opposites attract is still a big question in people's minds. So I thought I'm going to address that today because astrology has a way of answering that and simplifying it to such a way um, that you will never forget the wisdom in it. So, in astrology, the way we understand the idea of opposites is helping us understand how the universe is designed for us. And when you think of a horoscope, when I'm as an astrologer reading a horoscope, I look at the ascendant. The first thing that I look at in a horoscope is what is the ascendant of this person. Now, why the ascendant? Because ascendant is the starting point of your horoscope. It tells me who you are. The first house, ascendant is the first degree, the first house of your horoscope, and that tells me who are you, what are you like, what is your body type like, how does your mind really function, everything about you. And also it tells me the theme of your life, the highs and lows that you will go through, what are you more likely to go through as compared to other people. And do you realize that this is very unique to you? It's your individual horoscope, the individual setting in your birth chart that is very, very different from other people's settings in their horoscope. So when I'm looking at a person, I know, let's say they're a certain kind of ascendant. The seventh house from their ascendant, which is the house exactly opposite the first house, signifies marriage, partnerships, long term commitments. Now, the irony, do you see the irony here, which is so amazing because this is how we understand the universe, the creation of the universe, that this is who I am, and the other person who I'm destined to get attracted to, who I'm destined to get married to, is the exact opposite of me. Because the house opposite the first house is the seventh house, and seventh house is about partnerships and marriage. Now, it's so beautiful because when we read into the horoscope a little more, we will realize that the first house and the seventh house can never be the same. They can't even be similar to each other. They will always be poles apart, right? Because it is like, the magnet that has the north pole and the south pole, they can't be the same. In no such magnet really exists that has two south poles or two north poles. They're always one north and one south. And the universe gives us this information already that no matter how much you think that you are compatible with someone, oh, I'm vibing with this person, oh, this person's just like me, we like the same stuff, we like the same movies, we like to do this, similar stuff, bang, you get married and everything feels like, wow, this is so different. This person, I didn't know them this way, right? It's because of this very secret in the horoscope that you are destined to marry someone who is very different from you. Now, let's take it one by one in terms of different ascendants and what their seventh house is going to signify. So, if you are one of these ascendants, you will have somewhat a rough idea about what your partner is going to be like and the sort of people that you will attract in your life. Like how we all say that there's a type, she has a type, the sort of men that she dates, she has a type, or he has a type where he only dates certain kind of girls. It is it is that you have a type, and your astrologer can help you find that type and have more insight about it. That maybe you avoid the toxic kinds and align more with the kinds who will benefit you in some way or the other, whether they're at least not harming you, mentally, emotionally, physically. So let's understand what your type is. So if you are an Aries ascendant, please note that you are governed by Mars, right? That there is going to be this fiery energy in you, which is the zodiac sign right opposite it. It's Libra. Your seventh house will always have Libra in it if you are an Aries ascendant. Now, Aries is a fiery sign. Libra is an air sign. What happens when the two come together? Think of a flame in a candle. And the minute you blow that candle, the fire goes out, right? So fire and air, while Oxygen is needed for that fire, but if the air gets too dominant, it'll blow out that fire, right? So there is that sense of opposites between these two people, right? I am very fiery, whereas this person actually is very worldly. Fire is only about itself. It burns whatever is within its, in its area, in its circumference. Whereas air is everywhere. It wants to connect with everyone. So the biggest point of conflict between these two people is that an Aries individual is very focused on themselves, right? Self improvement. But a Libra person is very worldly. They want to hang around with everyone. They want to network. They want to be social. They want to do business. Whereas an Aries, the one individual, is all about doing the work by themselves, being more fit. A Libra person is not so concerned about that. Now, the minute we change these ascendants, you will realize how different the individuals are going to be that I will meet. Now, when you think of the Taurus ascendant, it becomes really interesting because Taurus is governed by Venus. It is all about liking the finer things of life. It is also a very earthy sign. Now, right opposite this Taurus is the zodiac sign of a Lord of Karma, which is Scorpio. It's also a very watery sign. So while you have this earthy sign, very practical about getting what they want in life, right? They like the finer things of life, they will work towards it, get it. Whereas Scorpio, the intensity of Scorpio is something rarely people can handle. Scorpio is very watery, it's full of emotions, but sometimes it doesn't even tell you what it's feeling. So I'm sure all of you have either had those relationships or heard about those relationships where a person doesn't tell what's wrong, but will be keeping those feelings inside and would want you to guess what's going on. The Taurus and Scorpio relationship chemistry is very much like that, where the earthy sign is saying, this is what it is, and I'm putting it out there. And the Scorpio person is like, guess if you can figure out what I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. Uh, this becomes the biggest point of conflict because communication, clarity is not there in the way one person is functioning as opposed to the other person. Now, the third zodiac sign, which is Gemini. If you're a Gemini ascendant, I know the house right opposite your ascendant is Sagittarius. Now, Gemini again is an air sign, so it again wants to communicate, but it's not going to be very in depth. They're not going to be very happy talking about the deeper stuff in life. You want them to discuss politics? No. They will talk about the gossip that's happening in the media industry. What's Hollywood and Bollywood going through right now? They will have more idea about that. They will talk about what their friends are doing. Whereas Sagittarius, the sign exactly opposite it, is a fiery sign. It is very, very focused again, like Aries. It's focused on evolution of the self, but through information, through knowledge, which is very deep. So they're not into gossip. So a lot of times I've seen Sagittarius people who are also Jupiter governed, right? Sagittarius is governed by Jupiter. So when Sagittarius people are with very Gemini inclined people, I've seen this, that they're very dissatisfied with the relationship because their partner doesn't want to talk about the similar stuff that they are into. So the interests vary a lot. Again, love languages, understanding each other's love language can get you on the same page, right? And it'll help you both connect with each other in a deeper way. If you're a Cancer ascendant, I have seen this that they will always have relationship issues. They will always be dissatisfied with their relationships. The reason is Cancer is such an emotional sign. It's water governed, full of emotions. They lead with their heart. Now, the sign exactly opposite their ascendant is the zodiac sign of Capricorn. Saturn governed zodiac sign. Very practical, very ambitious. They also want to lead in situations. They also want to get things done very methodically. And that becomes a big issue in their communication again, because one is leading with the heart and one is leading with all kinds of practical ideas. Because Capricorn is an earthy sign. It says, if it's here in the material way, then I understand it. If it's in an emotional way, then you're trying to explain me something I don't understand. And that becomes a big point of conflict between these two zodiac signs. Now, if you are the zodiac sign of Leo, Leo, again, very fiery in nature, very passionate, and very fixated on having a family, leaving a legacy behind. The exact opposite sign from it is Aquarius, airy, and has very abstract ideas. They're innovators. They want to experiment with things in the world. They want to experience life in very different ways. One person is wanting to have a family, right? And very fiery and very passionate about it. The other side, the person wants to actually detach from things and experience other things in the world which are not very common to other people. Someone saying, I want to travel the world, while their partner is saying, I want to have a family and be settled in one place. Obviously, they're conflicting on these two ideas, or let's say the vision of their lives is very, very different. Now, the last combination here is Virgo, and the sign exactly opposite theirs is Pisces. Now, Virgo, we know, is very practical, full of analysis. They're also governed by Mercury. So, all about the cerebral ideas of life. Everything that is about numbers, that is about less, more, how much, all of that is very Virgo. It's again a very earthy sign. So, whatever does not exist practically, tangibly on this planet, I don't get it and I can't process it. Now, Pisces is a completely opposite sign because it's the sign of everything that is abstract in nature. And Mercury is the student. Pisces, that's governed by Jupiter, is the teacher, right? Imagine being the sort of teacher that has seen everything, that has met all kinds of people in this world and has said, now I want to be in this world. I know too much to be belonging to this world. Whereas Virgo is very rooted in this world. It is the zodiac sign of your chartered accountant, of your doctors, because these are people who are dealing with everyday problems of other people. Whereas Pisces sign Jupiter says, I don't want to deal with anything. I want to sit in a cave and meditate and then eventually check out from this world and understand different galaxies and different spaces of this universe, right? Again, two very different signs. And here's the destiny that if you are any of these ascendants, you are going to look for the opposite sign because something similar does not satisfy you karmically, right? It doesn't excite you. If a Virgo person is meeting a Virgo, they will find themselves being really attracted to them as a best friend because so many similarities, but it doesn't spark a chemistry, right? It's the same with whether it's a Cancer sign, whether it's an Aries sign, it sparks that chemistry because there's certain kind of newness to it. There's friction, and that friction, which is what we call opposites, right? That opposites attract because of this. But even energetically in the universe, these opposites have to come together to create something new. So the karma is that we bring two forces of energies very different from each other to create a different kind of force. And that's why we have families being made like this, right? Husband and a wife, two very different forces, but they're creating a third product in that sense, which is a bit of both, bit of these two different forces of the universe and creating a brand new force. That is how the universe grows. That is how universe brings in variety. And here we are trying to make everybody the same. But the universe design itself in such a way that it wants to create more variety. It wants to make everything different from itself, right? Hence, the different kind of species, the different kinds of plants, animals, everything that you see around you. This, in the real sense, is the idea of abundance. Not too much of the sameness, but differences. And that's what makes us special. Instead of making each other the same and being in a relationship with the same sort of people, the differences are what need to be honored.